and it's a public holiday. Today, Monday, the second Monday in the month of November 2019, and it is the platform right here on Flow 94.9 FM. Today is the 11th day and 11th month of 2019. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the first edition of the program, The Platform, for this week on Flow 94.9 FM. This is the flow of God's own state. And this is the pinnacle of all discussions where we take a look at issues as it affects our dear nation, Nigeria, take a look at business, economy, social vices, and some other issues as it concerns us as Nigerians. My name is Michael Oni, and this morning on the platform, we are concerned with the continued detention of Omoyele Sowore and others against a valid court order, and the parties finally meeting the bail conditions. We will be joined in the studio by Barrister Mike Undu, a constitutional lawyer and human rights lawyer, and also on the phone with Monde Ubani, the former third vice president of the Nigeria Bar Association. Let me quickly bring you up to speed on what is happening as it concerns the continued detention of Omoyele Sowore. Well, just yesterday, human rights lawyer Mr. Femi Falana observed that the federal government would readily obey court orders made by foreign courts, but disobey the ones issued by Nigerian courts. He made this observation, against the continued detention of the convener of the Revolution Now protest, Mr. Omoyele Sowore, and Olawale Bakare by the Department of State Service, in spite of the court orders that he should be released. Now, let's quickly bring up Barrister Ubani on the phone. Let me not delay Barrister Ubani, the former third vice president. Let me quickly go straight. What is your immediate reaction to the continuous detention of Omoyele Sowore?
Nobody should be happy with what is actually playing out. The position of the law is that the judge has actually granted bail and gave conditions and terms, and those terms and conditions have been fulfilled, meaning that the conditions that the judge gave out, to grant bail to Sowore and his partner has actually been fulfilled, because that's why she signed the release warrant that's supposed to now be served on DSS so that they can release the accused persons that are in their custody. So they have no reason whatsoever to begin to lay any other conditional terms different from what the court has done, because the court has actually done all it's supposed to. Because it's no longer they are the one now granting bail. It is the court that have actually granted bail, and when a judge signs that release warrant, you don't have any other choice other than to release. So we were shocked, when Mr. Femi Falana, I spoke with him and he said, look, he's still in Abuja. These people have refused and neglected to release. And I was wondering, on what basis? Yeah, the first one, we thought, maybe because he was not charged formally. And if I was the judge, that was probably they brought the matter before to handle. After they have failed to obey the first court order, I would have refused to even sit on that matter. But the judge went ahead and look at it now. You have confidence in the judiciary. You charge an accused person before the judiciary, and the judiciary has now made a pronouncement that says this person should be on bail to face his trial.
Barrister Monde Ubani, do you think the federal government may be keeping him due to national security?
And we're saying it over and over again that it does not lie in the matter of the executive to actually give such an interpretation, relegating the right of an individual. It's still the judiciary that will look at the argument of the executive and look at the argument of an accused person, and then now says this is overriding. Either the national security overrides the personal interest of an individual. It does not lie in the mouth of somebody now who is the prosecutor. You are the one who is charging an individual to court. You are the prosecutor, and then you now become the judge to say, oh, this one supposed to take precedence. So if you have charged that individual before the court, and the court now has made a pronouncement in favor of that individual, you have no other choice unless you go on appeal. It is only the appellate court that can set aside the ruling that has been made by the lower court. You cannot stay in your house or stay in your office to now interpret or begin to now approve the judgment of the court. That cannot happen in democracy.
Barrister, before I let you go this morning, I know you have a very busy schedule. What is your parting shot on this particular matter?
I think the president and this government should try as much as possible to get quality advice, especially when it comes to issue of judgment of the court. The moment we destroy the judiciary, the people will lose confidence, and of course they begin to take laws into their, and that will not be too healthy for us as a nation. As much as possible, let's begin to respect judgment of the court. That is the only way to go. The world has become a global village, and people are watching, and people are taking history of what is going on in Nigeria. Let's respect court judgment. It's very key. It's very critical.
Well, let's respect court judgment, according to Barrister Monday Ubani there. Well, thank you very much, Barrister. Now, we cross over to a member of Sowore's team of lawyers, Akin Sowore, who will be speaking on the phone very soon. But we also have Barrister Mike Undu in the studio. We will get across to him as we continue with the program. Okay, we have, well, a lot of reactions as it concerns the continued detention of Omoyele Sowore in the custody of the Department of State Security Service. Now, before I cross over to Barrister Mike, I will, a former political advisor to ex-President Olusegun Obasanjo also spoke on this matter. He highlighted the political implication of Sowore's continued detention. I would like us to listen to him. Then we take a look at the legal implication as highlighted by Barrister Mike this morning. Well, different legal perspectives as it concerns the continued detention of Omoyele Sowore. Well, let me allow Barrister Mike Undu to wade in. Thank you very much for your patience this morning on the program, Barrister.
Thank you very much, my brother Michael.
Okay, you're welcome. Now, let's quickly take a look at the continued detention of Omoyele Sowore in the custody of the Department of State Security Service. Now, I don't know what you make of it. This is the second time he will be getting that judgment that he should be bailed. So I don't know what you make of this development.
Well, I think it's an aberration for the executive and the judiciary to be working at cross purposes, because I believe that if you talk about government, you actually would be referring to the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, and the three arms of government are expected to work in unison. So when one arm is incidentally trying to perhaps undermine the powers of the other, it becomes an aberration. You see, when the court grants bail, and then, like I said earlier, sometime on this platform, that the executive is there to execute the law that is made by the legislature, and then the judiciary is to interpret the law. So these three arms of government should be working together as one harmony. Body, yes, in harmony. There should be that mutual understanding among the three of them. So if one arm has made has perhaps done something, the other arm is expected to also give its support. So a situation where somebody is accused of having committed an offense against the country, it is presumed that that person committed offense against the three arms of government, and that should also work together. So when the executive charges to court, for instance, and then the judiciary grants bail, you see, the executive should also comply with that order of the court. That is also showing a sort of mutual respect to the other arm of government. But where the executive disobeys a court order, believe you me, it becomes an affront, on the judiciary. It would seem as if the executive has upper hand, than the judiciary.
Barrister, I want us to take a look at a situation where a body or a person goes against court judgment. What is the implication?
If one goes against a court judgment, the implication is that that particular act is said to be contemptuous. In other words, the person would have committed a contempt of court, which is a quasi-criminal act, and the person certainly would be at least or should be prosecuted or brought before the court to show cause why he or she should not be committed to prison. But in a situation where the people in government are doing these things with impunity, the judiciary appears to also be confused. It doesn't know how to go about it, because if you incidentally take somebody or maybe cite somebody for contempt, it will still be the executive made up of the security architecture of the country to take care of the execution, and you can still ask them to do it and they will refuse. For instance, how will you ask a policeman to take a DSS officer to prison? You understand what I'm saying? So they are likely not to comply with it. So that is why it is just good for the three arms of government.
I want us to break it down now in a layman's language. A court judgment given, and the court judgment given that a particular person should be bailed, and the person was refused bail. who will be charged to court? Who will face the consequences of this particular situation, this particular case?
All right. You see, when court makes order for someone to be released on bail, that particular order must have been directed to somebody. You understand? Somebody incidentally is detaining this person, and the court has ordered that particular person. If it is DSS,
in this situation, it's the DSS now.
DSS, the head.
In this situation, it's the DSS.
It's not the entirety of DSS.
Okay.
It should be the head, the person who is at the helm of affairs that ought to have directed his subordinate to quickly release. So that person should be cited for contempt for disobeying court order. You understand? If it is, for instance, in maybe in the police setting, maybe in a state, you have the police commissioner. If it is under the police commissioner, then you can cite the police commissioner for contempt. You understand? Now, there is a director of DSS within that particular state, maybe in Abuja, where this thing is happening. Then that man or woman that is in charge, that is at the helm of affairs, where this order is directed, if the person fails to comply with the order, then the person should be cited for contempt. The person should be brought before the court to show cause why he or she should not be sent to prison for disobeying court order.
Do you think the federal government or the DSS has any reason not to release Omoyele Sowore?
My brother, nobody.
It's been said it might be against national security.
No, nobody has any. See, if it is for the reason of national security, the court should have known that. They should have deposed that in the affidavit or rather counter affidavit, so that the court will refuse bail. For court to have looked at the whole circumstances, and the court is comfortable granting bail.
Are there situations where national security overrides court judgment?
No, except if it is brought before the court and the court sees reason to refuse bail.
So there are no cases of maybe national security overriding.
No. I don't subscribe to that. But all I believe in is that the other party said the prosecution will have the right to file a counter affidavit, wherein you are expected to depose to facts that will perhaps sway the mind of the court not to grant bail.
It's a case of treason. I think it is the highest offense in the land, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, in such a situation, is it a bailable offense?
Well, it is. That's why court has granted bail. Bail is at the discretion of the court. You understand? Every offense is bailable. It depends on the court you have approached. So long as that particular court is manned by a high court judge, the court can grant bail. Bail is within the discretion of the judge. If he so desires to grant bail, he grants bail based on the facts deposed to and presented before the court.
I will get back to you, Barrister Mike Undu, as it concerns the implication in our judiciary system. But let me quickly go straight to the phone line, sir, to take reactions from our listener. 0808-182-6949, 0811-605-2949, 0906-510-8289. Do you think federal government or the DSS, or because it is the DSS keeping Omoyele Sowore now, do you think the DSS has a reason to continue Omoyele Sowore, to keep him in detention? What do you make of this, the continued detention of Omoyele Sowore, the convener of Revolution Now, right here on the platform this morning? Let's begin the conversation. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Michael.
Good morning to you.
And good morning, our lawyer.
Good morning.
This is Radio Senator calling from Government College, Omoyele.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to dispute with our lawyer there that says that fundamental rights supersede that of national security. I want to say no, it's not true, my brother. It is national security supervise or supersede that of fundamental human rights of the citizen. If you take on it, when the state government or when the federal government or the state declares state of emergency, you are violated on the right of the people. Why should it be so? And the Constitution declared it there. It's there in the Constitution. So you can't say that the fundamental right of the citizen supersedes. No, I disagree with you then. Then the other way around, let us go back. You know that in one of the problems of independence of the judiciary is that some of the judges or some of the judicial officers take part, have personal interest in terms of when they see they begin to, some of their judgments will not go over well the way it should. If you can focus and go back to Nigeria, Sowore is not the first who have decided to overthrow the government by force. That thing happened in 1964 when Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe defeated Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and Awolowo resulted to plan to change Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe by force. And what happened? He was arrested. Who released him? Because he's treason. Treason is not what you just release somebody. It's something that talks about felony. You don't release somebody easily. It's not like other crimes. Killing you or somebody can just be released. So I disagree with that. But all the same, and because they are pronounced that, I think they have to rub my and see how security trade that issue is before the federal government will act.
All right. Thank you, Radio Senator. I will get back to you on that, Barrister. I know you have, you want to respond to that, but I will get back to you. Hello, good morning to you. Hello. Welcome to the conversation. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes.
Barrister in the house, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Well, as a matter of fact, I said this sometime in this platform that the law was used by the superior.
Oh, I lost that, probably in the network. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Jamaica.
Good morning to you.
Obinna calling from Omoyele.
You're welcome, Obinna.
Good morning, Mr. Mike.
Good morning, my brother.
Mr. Mike, indeed.
Good morning, brother.
In all simplicity, the very situation is a very pathetic one. I mean, this very-led government is really taking a wrong precedence for the future. Sowore is not the first person that has been denied there by this government. Africa is still there, we still have other people. This is not fair. This is not fair. The world are watching, everybody is watching. And it baffles me that the same people that they are human rights activists then, I could remember that junior minister for labor, what is the FCCMO, he was one of the lawyers in the chamber of Ghana, if I'm not mistaken, the human rights activists. All of them are seated there with none of them could open mouth and saying that, oh God, this is what you should be doing. Even Festus Kayemo that works with Ghana. I mean, it's not fair. It's not fair. So where it doesn't deserve to be there. No matter what they're accusing of doing, the court have given their judgment. Obey the court order first. Then, if you go to the court and win your case, the court will not serve him the right punishment that he deserves. And it cannot be the prosecutor and also be the judge at the same time. It is not fair. All I say that why did you know that he's setting a wrong precedent for Nigeria? And those that are clapping for him, all those party members that see nothing wrong in this thing, let them know that tomorrow we begin with them, and Nigerians will also remind them of this day. Thank you very much, and good night.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. Hello, good morning to you. Okay, we lost that. Now, you heard what Radio Senator said, Barrister, that a case of fundamental human rights and a case of national security. National security overrides fundamental human rights. I don't know, but maybe you have the Constitution to quote, you know how you do your thing. So I don't know how you want to respond to that, Barrister.
Well, we have never talked about the maybe position between the fundamental human rights and national security. We have only been considering the issue of obeying court order. You see, when court has made a pronouncement, it behoves the executive and even the legislature to comply, to obey that court order.
It's been said severally that it's a case of national security, that name, revolution now, it is to trample upon, to take over by force, according to some quarters, what is being said. I don't know how you want to react to this, Barrister.
What I'm saying is that even the court knew that it was a case of a treasonable felony. The court knew that it was a case that borders on national security, yet the court granted bail. That's what I'm saying. Granting bail is within the discretion of the court.
This is the second time he will be granted bail.
Yes.
In the space of,
so what I'm saying is that court that granted bail can never be seen as a court that maybe is sensitive or to to perhaps national security.
Okay.
The court is also sensitive to national security, and the court has considered it apposite and proper to grant bail, and it granted bail. So that court order should be complied with. Remember that the executive still took that same man to the judiciary, to that same court, to perhaps try that particular person, convict him by an order too.
Okay.
Because the court can only function by making an order. Even if in the judgment, the court makes order, there must be order in that judgment. And if you don't comply with it, assuming this person is convicted and the person says, I am not accepting it, I'm running away and all that, what the executive need to do, or this need to do now, is to appeal. They should appeal the order of the court granting bail and not disobeying it.
Instead of keeping him.
Yes, and in as much as they have not appealed that particular order, they should comply with it. That makes for mutual respect. There should be that mutual respect and maybe convivial atmosphere where these three arms of government should operate, so that at the end of the day there will not be perhaps trying to look down on one another.
All right, let's take more reactions on the phone. Hello, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. I'm Mr. here.
You're welcome.
Thank you. When we talk about the judiciary and the executive and the others, it's so sympathetic that here in Nigeria, we still we're practicing democracy. But when you look at it the other way around, you see we are not really practicing it. It's only, I don't know, we're just joking about it. If not, I don't know why. This is not the first time the court will, give others, will ask DSS to grant bail on this, but release this person on bail. And after meeting the bail conditions, they will refuse. They will hold that person down. And sometimes to me, I say that serves them right. Because when the case of Onoke was on ground, the judiciary didn't do anything. The NBA didn't do anything. They kept quiet, thinking it's just position fighting, political issue. But now it's trading back and down to work. Now, tomorrow you will see here, DSS taking Sowore to another court of the same level, attending to the same matter. Why can't that court say, no, we are not going to attend to this case? It has been handled already. We should grant him bail. But you see them, they will see that some different court will still, attend to that matter. Who is fooling who? The judiciary should come together and take a stand in a case like this. Look, the executive, this man has been granted bail. DSS, this man has been granted bail. Release him on bail. Then after that, he can come up with another suit or whatever.
Okay.
But for this particular case now, release this man.
All right, quickly wrap up the thoughts, please. Let's move
take him
on.
to another court, and another court will say, continue with the same matter.
All right.
Judiciary are killing themselves.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen in the building.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is Joseph Ejindo. I am calling from Alai.
Okay,
precisely.
You're welcome, Joseph.
Thank you very much. You say the system, all the systems in the country have been corrupt. Both the judiciary, the executive, and the security personnel in the country. Let me tell you something now. We understand that President Buhari ruled this country as a military head of state. And this is one of the reasons we have been crying to avoid military recyclement in our leadership. Now, how can somebody be granted bail by the court and the security agent will refuse to release the person? And we have the executives whom accuse Sowore of trying to overthrow the government. And they did not do anything or say anything about that. Let me tell you something you have to understand. Whether you believe it or not, we are indirectly and directly under military junta. You are talking about
that's your opinion.
sensitivity.
That's your opinion, anyways. Your opinion.
Okay, no problem.
All right, thank you.
In regards to the sensitivity of a security, whatever, that Sowore is accused in the country, we are meant to understand that judiciary is the last hope of a common man, and judiciary has interpretation of whatever offense that someone commits, and they have the gravity of offense or the gravity of punishment that will be given to such person. Now, let's assume that it's true that Sowore wants to pull down the government and he's been arrested. And the same executive that accused him dragged him to the court, and the court says, grant him on bail, let him face his trial. Does it mean that you, the executive that took him to the court, you no longer have confidence on the court that you want him to try Sowore? So, this thing that is happening in the country today is a sign that we are under capistocracy. We are under totalitarianism systems of government. A situation whereby the opinions of the people can never be counted again. I am calling the judiciary, I am calling the executive, I am calling all the political activists in the country.
All right.
Let us stand up against injustice.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank
you very much. Barrister, let me get back to you on this issue. What is the implication now on the judiciary? The implication on the judiciary. You're a part of the judiciary, you're a lawyer, and of course you've been part of the process. Court judgment delivered in your favor against you in several matters that you've represented in the court of law. I don't know, in a situation where something like this is happening, as a lawyer, what will you do?
Well, I think
if you're the one representing Sowore in this case.
You see, it is not actually a good situation to see where one arm of the government is perhaps undermining the powers of the other arm of the government. And again, it portends a failed system, because where the three arms ought to work together and ensure that the people are given good governance, and then one is perhaps antagonizing the other, or one is slighting the other, it leads to people losing confidence in the entire system. And when the people lose confidence in the entire system, they certainly will resort to self-defense, and that could lead to breakdown of law and order. I am thinking that what the executive ought to do is to have a rethink and retrace its step and start seeing the judiciary as maybe partners in progress.
The problem we have on ground now, because it is a problem when court orders are not obeyed.
Yes.
It is a problem.
Yes.
The problem we have on ground, is it a problem of the judiciary, or the problem is from the executive?
Well, I think it is a problem of the executive, I would say, because the executive is trying to arrogate more powers to itself than the judiciary, forgetting that the three arms of government derive their powers from the Constitution, which is the legal framework for the entire system. So if you are undermining the powers of the other one, you are equally telling the other people to undermine your own powers. But the executive is feeling as if the judiciary is tied to its own apron string. But that is not so. Judiciary is independent of the executive. The executive is also independent of the judiciary, as well as that of the legislature. However, there is also no watertight separation of power, as the three of them are expected to work at least in mutual understanding, so that at the end of the day they will be able to maintain peace and order. No one arm of government can ensure peace and order. That is why when the legislature makes the law, the executive executes, then the judiciary interprets and punishes, so that people will be deterred from doing it. When people see that they no longer have confidence in the system, that they can no longer go to judiciary, which is described as a last hope of the common man, and get justice, they certainly will take arms against anybody or any perceived enemy or opposition, and that will not be good for the system. The executive should have a rethink and start obeying orders of court and judgments of court. That will go a long way in ensuring that we have peace and order in the country.
Chooks on the SMS line says, "Good morning, Flow FM. Holding back Sowore after court judgment is abuse of law. They are insulting and making caricature of our judiciary. Nobody is above the law." Keep your SMS coming in. It's 0906-510-8289. Let's get back to the phone lines. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Mike.
Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning. Thank you so much for this program.
You're welcome.
We know, yes. My name is Victor Ndovoka. I'm calling from Ameti Beach.
You're welcome, Victor.
Yes. When we talk about governance with the arms, the three arms of government,
yes,
and the fourth arm, which is the press, that reports what the government is doing. I think you people are doing quite a lot to give us the enlightenment of what is going on. The case for Sowore, who is being detained, and to release him when the court has given an order granting him bail. I don't think the federal government is doing it in the right way. The federal government may have, in their own thinking, maybe to make it impossible for any other person or group to think of, carrying out any kind of protest when they are doing wrong. To use this occasion to serve as a deterrent to other people. I think that is wrong, and that is the way I'm seeing it. They are using it to punish people. When we come to the functions of the three arms of government, they are stated in the Constitution. We know that the judiciary is to settle disputes and recommend punishment to any offender of the law. The legislature makes the laws, approves appointments, and all the rest. And the executive is to execute government programs and policies and initiate policies. Now, if the federal government think that the protest now is against the government and is a revolution, they have not actually proved maybe the arms or the extent or the groups that are behind Sowore as to carry out the overthrow of the democratically elected federal government. What I should advise the federal government is to repress their track.
All right.
They
All right.
should come back.
Wrap up your thoughts, please.
Let them respect the judiciary.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's move on. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning, Michael Oni.
Good morning.
Good morning, the man in the house, journalist.
Good morning, my brother.
Who say Marinoda calling from Omoyele.
You're welcome.
Let's look at the issue of Sowore this way. Sowore, why he was detained because he instigated or told Nigeria, he said revolution now. The interpretation of the word revolution has been interpreted before the law court and he was granted a bail. Up till now, the federal government of the day, led by our president, who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, is yet to release him, even after meeting the bail conditions. So what are Nigeria, like the barrister, the man in the studio said, that it is the judiciary that interprets the law. Since they find it fit to allow Sowore to go, DSS and the executive are not supposed to hold him back. I don't know, Nigeria has found itself to the state which we are today, where rules of law are being neglected, where rules of law are being disobeyed outrightly, where rules of law are not being recognized by the people that are leading us. These are the problems that we are facing today. When we are forgetting that what goes around comes around. We've had the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. We see what it took the presidency to allow him, if not because of Osibanjo, who was the acting president then. Nnamdi Kanu and Dasuki would have still been in detention till today. Have we forgotten the issue of Dasuki? This is to tell you that the present there of APC government are not, led by executives, are not doing the needful. They are just made Nigerians the more we look, the less we see. Look at a lot of things. A lot of things is going on wrong under this administration. But they are still claiming to tell Nigerians that they have the poor masses or the of the causes of what is going on, and that they are trying to make Nigeria a better place. How can you make Nigeria a better than surveying the law?
All right,
it's very unfortunate that Nigerians are faddic serve in this government of APC, heavily led by a president who is enjoying his tea and whatever in London. It's very, very shameful. Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning to you.
Barrister, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
It's quite unfortunate.
What's your name, please? Your name first.
Yeah, this is Professor Emeritus.
Okay, you're welcome, Professor. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. What I'm trying to say in effect is, Mr. Barrister, I want to ask you a very simple question. Is the DFS director, is he above the law?
No, he's not. I thought the question was rhetoric. It's not nobody is above the law, my brother. Nobody.
Nah, if this man is not above the law, the court have granted this man bail, and the executive refuses to grant to order to obey the court order. I don't understand, but they still come to court to seek for judgment, to seek for judgment, right? Now, in this situation in this country, I look at it that the law is made by the superior for the inferiors to obey. Because if the court, which is the final hope of the common man, is being neglected, dragged to the mud, I don't know the way forward. But I believe the judiciary, the body of judiciary should wake up and stand against this war, this very stupid act. Because I see it as an act that is very, very stupid. Because when the court orders, I believe that everybody should obey the last order of the court and respect it, because it's the final common hope of every man. And I am blaming PDP on this act, because if they have granted the court an autonomy, all this nonsense will not be happening in this country. Because if the court are autonomy, they are independent, they will execute the correct judgment of the law, and everybody will get issue and get issue destination. But because they are not granted autonomy, and that is why things is happening. Look at the senators and the House of Reps. They should see what is happening in this country and enact a law that will make sure that every judiciary is independent and they granting them an autonomy. And that I believe that this is the way forward. Because without the judiciary, the hope of the common man, this law is being cast into the sea.
All right,
it's very, very unfortunate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, he's asking for an autonomy of the judiciary. Is there not autonomy of the judiciary?
To a reasonable extent, the judiciary enjoys some measure of autonomy. But I think sometimes some people arrogate too much powers to themselves. Like I have earlier said, the executive does that more often than not. And the executive failed to understand that if somebody is facing trial or accused of having committed an offense, the Constitution still presumes that person innocent. And when you keep on perhaps incarcerating the person, keeping the person in detention, it does appear you have already started punishing the person before the person is even found guilty and perhaps sentenced. So I think what the executive ought to do is to give the required respect, and it ought to accord to the judiciary by simply obeying the orders of court, so that the 2-3 arms of government can work harmoniously, at least for the benefit of the citizens of the country.
Toby on the SMS line says, Presenter, I think government should let Sowore go. Should let go Sowore. However, he and his activities should be closely monitored. We all have to be very careful. That's from Toby. Let's take more calls, more reactions. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
Yes, you're welcome.
Good morning, Barbara Samdu.
Good morning.
I remember Mr. Princewell Oswego calling here from Omonachobo.
You're welcome, Mr. Princewell.
My brother, the issue at stake is a complete aberration to the law.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm saying it is an arbitrary to the constitution of the nation. If somebody has been granted bail, let that person be released. if they are accusing Sowore of treasonable felony, the court has said it. What else do they want to do? Are they going to Privy Council in London? So I believe the executive under the presidency, because of all these things, let Sowore be released before the international community, so that our integrity should be sound. That's my statement. God bless all of us in the studio.
All right, thank you very much for making it brief. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, good morning to you. Who is on the line? Hello. Okay, I will take 2 more calls on the program this morning. Then we'll wrap up things. What do you make of the continued detention of Omoyele Sowore? 0808-182-6949, 0811-605-2949. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Coach Joy.
Yeah, good morning, Barrister.
Good morning.
Yeah, my own take is just simple.
Your name, please.
I think,
Your name. It's very important.
The federal government should release Sowore as far as he has been granted that bail.
Okay.
They should release him. Just check out since last year. He has been there. We have been talking about this one thing all this while. It's very unfortunate.
It's not been since last year, maybe last month. You say.
Yeah, last month. Sorry,
okay.
there.
All right.
Sorry. Don't you see that the rights of the poor man is being trampled underfoot? You understand? It's not fair. The federal government should change the gear of the way they are ruling this country now, so that things will be in order, so that there will be peace in this country. Let them obey the rule of law, so that peace will reign. Thank you and have a nice day.
All right, thank you very much. That's Coach Joy. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
This is Baba Gunners from Momotumunachurbo.
All right, the wonderful Gunners fan from Imo State.
Yes,
You're welcome.
I lost 2-0 to Lesser.
Thank you. Welcome.
In respect of my brother who they detain, I don't know what I will talk about. They will say they talk in hate speech. Why can somebody in the democratic elected government, somebody with protest, will become a problem? I'll be with them for detective government and native government will be there. When they release that man, if the man died there, it will be a big problem to us. So, please, at the best federal government, when they release the Sowore, he never commit any offense.
All right,
that's my own take.
Okay, that would be for the court to decide if he has committed an offense or not, but he has been granted bail. All right, Barrister Mike, I don't know what will be your conclusion this morning on the program, your advice to the DSS, and of course your advice to the legal team representing Omoyele Sowore, and also your advice to Omoyele Sowore himself in the custody of the DSS.
Well, my take is that we are practicing democracy, and democracy, one of the principles of democracy is the rule of law, and rule of law dictates that nobody is above the law, and that whatever law that we have made for ourselves by our representatives should be complied with. So if we have a court of law that has turned out an order, it should be complied with. Then for Sowore and his team of lawyers, if incidentally an order of court is not being complied with, I think they know the step to take, that is to cite whoever that has not complied with that court order for contempt by initiating the process. But that will only prolong his stay in detention. But that is just the only way to go. If the DSS has refused to comply with the court order releasing Sowore, then the director of DSS should be cited for contempt, and then should also be sent to at least should be remanded for at least contemptuously treating the courts.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister, for being part of the program this morning. The platform right here, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. This wonderful Monday morning. It's a public holiday, so do enjoy your holiday. And many thanks to the producer of the program, Samson, as Barrister Mike Undu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my brother. The pleasure is mine. Goodbye, good listener.
All right, do enjoy your Monday. And of course, keep the dial locked on Flow 94.9 FM. My name is Michael Oni.